Okay, guys, HR is out of the building today. We're going to get a little rowdy, so I'm going to just trigger warning everybody. I've got a clip I want to play.
Get
and then
the kids out of the car.
Yep.
Kids out of the car.
If you got kids in the car,
you probably shouldn't be listening to us anyway if you've got kids around. If you haven't figured that out by now.
Right. Yeah, kids, put your headphones on.
Your
this
muffs.
one's just for your parents.
In France, when I was a kid, we had these little questions we would ask each other, like, how much money would someone have to pay you to suck a dick? Do you feel like your number was $50,000?
Next question. I'm not going to answer that question.
But do you see as a comparison of like you are sacrificing your personal values for $50,000?
I think I had more important things to focus on than my personal values.
In what way? What was more important than your personal values?
Getting out of debt. What's the American dream? Get out of debt.
And okay, I think you got to give everyone who can't see that clip a little bit of context.
Absolutely. That was a French journalist interviewing an ICE employee. And in the clip, the ICE employee, his full face is covered. You can't identify this person. We have no idea who it is. But I mean, I think the journalist makes a great point. Like, there's a whole lot of fucking fellatio going on right now.
Oh my God.
At various levels of government and administration.
I think 50,000 is a really particular number because that's the bonus that ICE is paying out to these new recruits.
Yes.
And there are like thousands of people are actually showing up to these job fairs that ICE is having in all these different cities. And the 50,000 is parceled out over 10 years or 5 years, excuse me. So you can't just get it like all at once. You've got to be there for 5 years and you'll get this $10,000 thing that they're also going to like waive your student debt.
So there's a vesting program here,
yes.
right? Okay, is $50,000 enough? Would you, Gina?
Fuck no.
$50,000 for
No,
fellatio?
I mean, for me, no, because I mean that's not really going to change the trajectory of my life or my lifestyle.
And I feel with the cost of living right now, that's like half a tank of gas,
Yes.
maybe one egg.
Yes.
Like it doesn't feel
It does
like
not
a
pay
lot
for
of
the
money.
groceries. 50 grand is not enough for me to compromise my values. So this is a person who's like, my values have nothing to do with this. Like I would much rather pay off my debt. That's the American dream. And he was fucking serious.
Absolutely. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, that's the American dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
let that sit with you. But okay, so I want to bring us back around to why I've been talking about fellatio so much in the last couple of days.
Blowjobs for the
Blowjobs.
layman.
That's right, blowjobs. And that is literally we sat and watched a fucking group of billionaire tech bros perform fellatio, aka give blowjobs to a whiny orange spray tan draft dodger when they've got so much fucking money. That like, what is this all about?
I think you need to tell everyone about these particular tech bros.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there was Tim Cook, there was
Tim
Zuckerberg.
Apple.
So they had a meeting.
Yeah,
Let's
it was a dinner. It was
let's
a
set
dinner.
the stage, okay? They all flew to D.C. and met with Trump at the White House. They sat in this big banquet room, you know, all around a big table together. And they literally went around the room one by one, all saying something about, you know, thank you to Trump for something and how much they love him.
Oh, that's so fucking gross.
That's exactly what they all have to do that. Remember, that's what they've been doing for the cabinet. They literally, the cabinet comes in, they do exactly the same thing. Everyone is performing fellatio on this
Okay,
man.
so instead of starting your group meeting every time you have a group meeting, you have like a question. You're like, hey, tell us what your favorite restaurant meal is that you order. Instead, they start their group meetings with Trump with, we would like to give praise to dear leader today.
Absolutely.
By telling you how great you are and then getting on our knees to blow you, essentially.
And including Bill Gates. Bill Gates did it as well. He's like, oh, thank you for all of your innovation. It's like, what the fuck
What
is wrong with
innovation?
these people?
Mark Zuckerberg gave his thanks and then was like, oh, I didn't do it good enough. And then leaned over to Trump and was like, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I said exactly what you wanted me to say. I'll say it again, though.
I mean, this is
Daddy.
all daddy. This is all by design, though, right? Like, essentially, this is what gets Trump. Like, is we get him to do what we want him to do by flattering the shit out of him.
But is it really working? Have a look what just happened in Doha in Qatar. The Qataris literally gave him a fucking plane, which
Yes.
they're probably inserting the golden toilet into whilst we're speaking. And still he turned around. He had, basically the background of that is that Doha, there was, Israel basically did a bombing of in Doha just a few days ago.
Hamas targets, yeah.
Hamas were the targets, but it was a meeting where there were people there that were not from Hamas. It was basically, they were basically there for a peace talks or whatever the hell it was.
It was a government meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but Trump knew about it. He knew about it before it happened. So
Oh,
he was
he
given
knew the
heads
bombing
up.
was gonna happen?
He was given the heads up by Israel. Netanyahu and his cronies had told
He's
him.
denying it, but nobody, the other side is kind of poking all these holes into his story.
Yeah, no, he definitely knew about it. He didn't bother to turn around and tell his mates that had just given him a fucking $800 million, whatever it was,
$400 million
plane, secondhand plane, by the way.
Right.
So secondhand
Used.
plane. That's
But
right.
still, Netanyahu's government is amplifying this war that they're starting, this war of aggression. They're basically kind of bombing the shit out of their neighbors all over the place. We obviously know what's been happening in Gaza. But Qatar is supposed to be brokering the peace, right? So
Correct.
Trump is now like, oh no, I'm so upset about what's happening. You guys need to stop doing that. Just like he keeps saying to Putin, stop doing that. Don't do that anymore. Like, isn't this the man who's saying, give me the Nobel Peace Prize? And there's
Oh my God.
9 new wars or something.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
He's literally jockeying for a Nobel Prize on the regular. And
Maybe he needs to blow someone.
like you said, 9 new war. He ran on the peace ticket. You can go and find the old posts on the GOP, Facebook and Twitter and everything. The peace ticket, and there's photos of Trump and Vance. Like you said, 9 new wars have broken out just in the last week. How many new conflicts have arisen? I mean, 4, 3.
Nepal. You guys are just telling me about Nepal.
Nepal,
Holy shit.
France, Poland, NATO. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's insane.
Russia's like flying drones into NATO airspace.
Yeah.
Oh my
Shit's
God.
going sideways.
This
So
is a
with
fucking
that,
sideways world.
Poland just said it invoked NATO Article 4, which
Great.
basically calls for it calls for a meeting, like family meeting, guys. Like, let's all get together and talk about the situation and decide on a collective response. Is basically what Article 4 is, because this is like the most aggression they've had in Europe since World War II. So,
Right.
people are on pins and needles over there.
Yeah. Maybe don't.
Everything's going sideways, people. I'm just saying, strap in. It's going to be a long, 3 and a bit years? we've got
Strap
to
in,
go.
strap on. This episode's gonna get fucking
No
wild.
guardrails.
No
HR's out of the
guardrails.
building.
All right, so before we move on, I want to ask you guys, what would you do for 50 grand?
Like I said, given it's only half a tank of gas and an egg at the moment, given the economy, it's hard to tell.
What would you do for 50,000?
I'll tell you what I wouldn't do, and it wouldn't be like sell out my neighbors because they had a different accent than me or a different colored skin. I mean, did you guys see that SCOTUS ruling where they're
Yeah.
basically like, yeah, ICE can go and grab,
Yeah. They can grab people based on their, what they look like, how they're speaking. But hey, college admissions, we better not do it that way.
Right.
We're going to stop right there.
That's right.
Welcome to another episode of the Point of Disorder podcast. I'm Adrian.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Gina.
All right, welcome back. We're all together again in the same room, hashing out the same hellscape. So remember, if you're a fan, please leave us a like, a comment, a share. Tell your mom about us. Hey, Pat. Follow us on YouTube and all the other evil platforms from your favorite tech bros like Mark Zuckerberg.
Can I just say, I really want some good comments because our DMs have been full of people like this lovely man, Ethan Rouse. Hey, thanks for letting everybody know you're an idiot. Best of luck. Sure, you're not going to end up sad and alone? ? Thumbs up. I don't know,
sweet,
Ethan.
Sweet, Ethan. It's nice to hear from you. Thanks. Keep up the good work out there.
Ethan, I'm
trolling
sorry
us.
that your mother didn't cuddle you enough. I'm
That's
very
the
sorry.
only one I can read that doesn't have some sort of
Expletive?
slur or expletive.
Amazing. Yeah, everybody needs to give us a like and give us some positive comments. So, well, speaking of fellatio and getting off, let's talk about how the fake electors just got off.
can I just say beforehand, I am so pissed about this. I'm pissed about a lot of things this week, as Gina knows.
Yes.
I'm very pissy.
I mean, it wouldn't be living in the United States without outrage. So
I know outrage seems to be my baseline at the moment, but shout out these fake electors got off just this week. Gina, can you explain to us what they did, and then we'll discuss what happened.
So let's rewind, get in our way back machine, and go to 2020 real quick. After we had the presidential election in which Joe Biden was declared the winner and Donald Trump refused to, what's the word I'm looking for here?
he refused to like fucking lose. Like he refused to concede.
Concede is the word I'm looking for. Apologies for the perimenopause brain. So he refused to concede, and then he started calling people in swing states like Michigan and Georgia, like coming up with schemes to try to find new votes and win electorates back. So the Trump administration reached out to the craziest assholes in Michigan, like Michon Maddock and Meriden Sheridan, and
Meriden Sheridan?
No, what's her name? Marion.
Marion.
I was gonna say I like Meriden Sheridan better.
Yeah.
That like
From
fucking
now on, she'll be called
rhymes.
Meriden Sheridan.
Meriden Sheridan.
The whole, like, these people are all very plugged in. There was a mayor, there was a city clerk that was a fake elector, and they all kind of got together and they were like, hey, how can we start saying that certain votes were fraudulent and not count them? And, at one point...
How can we cheat for you?
Exactly.
Right.
So they did have secret meetings where they all got together and kind of like decided, hey, this is what we're going to do. If you remember the mini insurrection that happened in Lansing, they were all there like trying to figure out like how to break into the Capitol building. Obviously, we know their plan didn't work. We did not give our electoral votes to Donald Trump. We gave them to Joe Biden in 2020. This did not, the plan didn't work. Fast forward to this trial that's been going on. So the verdict that came down was basically like, can we move forward with criminal charges on the fake electors? And the judge announced a few days ago that the verdict was basically they're too fucking stupid to know what they were doing was illegal, and they had a constitutional right to do it.
I don't know
that
how
was the verdict.
I don't know how you have a constitutional right to like forge documents and say that you're an elector for president, like for a president that didn't win.
Was that, hey, they were all taking photos of their secret meetings and posting them together. Would you have done that if you knew you were committing a crime?
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I just go and like murder someone and take photos and like pretend like I don't know what I'm doing? And
just hold the severed head
That's
up in the picture.
I mean, most criminals are pretty fucking stupid in general. Are we going to let them all off because of that?
That's the point. I said to Gina, like, what the fuck is this about? So if you rob a bank and take a selfie in front of the bank with your bag of money, is that okay?
It's like
that means, you didn't know what you were doing.
You didn't know what he was doing. You took a picture.
And I always thought that like ignorance was no excuse for breaking the law. Like I just thought that was a basic tenure of law around the world. Like not knowing every law didn't mean
right. The law still exists.
Exactly.
It didn't just not exist because you didn't realize it wasn't there.
And
we don't all have
So
constitutional law degrees.
Kristen Simmons said, this is a fraud case and we have to prove intent, and I don't believe there is evidence sufficient to prove intent.
They knew what they were signing was fucking fake.
They knew that,
They knew that it was fake. They knew that Trump had not won based on what we call fucking numbers. Based on the numbers, he did not win, and they still went ahead and did it. I just don't understand it.
There's a lot we don't understand anymore.
So connecting it around, the reason I'm still wearing white after Labor Day is I figure that if Michon Maddock can get away with trying to overturn a fucking election, I can get away with wearing white after Labor Day.
Those rules aren't like something that you're going to go to jail for.
Right.
So at least there's that, So Jim Runstead, the Republican Party chair here in Michigan, said in a statement, and this to me is just mind-blowing, is not only a huge win for these electors, but also for justice itself. That doesn't even make any fucking sense because there was no justice served in this situation.
Well, in their mind there was, right? The 15 fake electors were vindicated.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, I mean, we saw the Maddox yesterday, all like celebratory. I don't know that I'd be celebrating a verdict that said I was too stupid to know what I was doing was wrong.
They don't care.
But they're too stupid to even know that means that. Do you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
would not have gone to that place. And look, think about it. Georgia was another state that he tried to do. Georgia did not do it.
Yeah.
So he's so pissed with Georgia that he just fucking sent ICE into the Hyundai fucking factory and
Yeah.
got rid of all
Hyundai,
of
yeah.
the people that are there that have come in to basically train technical stuff. So, you know, if you don't bow to him, he will fucking
Yeah.
bend you over.
Dana Nessel is thinking about appealing. Some of the electors are thinking about civilly suing her. We haven't heard the last of this yet.
Yeah, there's still more to come for sure. Well, I mean, so speaking of Trump sending ICE and National Guard troops around the country, in our illustrious state, there's only one person running on the Republican side for the U.S. Senate. Mike Rogers, everybody's favorite Floridian, is running, and he has called for the National Guard to come to Detroit, which we kind of touched on a little bit last week.
Yeah, but he doubled down
Yeah.
earlier this week. He was at an event in Midland, and he spoke to a reporter who questioned him about his, press release. And he doubled down and said, yeah, it's absolutely the right thing to do. It's when there's crime, we gotta, the mental gymnastics it takes to, okay, there's some crime in a city, let's go and occupy it with a military force.
Right. And which, like, Detroit is very familiar with this. Like in 1967, everyone kind of knows Detroit for the riots, like that happened in 67, which I don't want to get into here. There was a lot of fucking shit that led up to that. There was the deployment of the National Guard during that time, and 40 people died. Like 40 civilians died because of it. And I just want to say, like, Detroit is a great place to be if you're listening from across the country. Like, there's a lot of misperception about Detroit.
We're in Detroit right now.
We're here right now. Fucking Detroit's rad. Like, we've seen an almost 20% drop in homicides, like in violent crime, in the last year alone. And it's only July too. So we've seen this drop in crime, but this motherfucker wants to go up to mid-Michigan and say we need the National Guard here. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
No thanks.
I mean, the way to deal with crime isn't through more force and intimidation tactics. Why is there crime? Because people can't meet their basic needs.
Exactly.
There would be no crime if everybody had a roof over their heads and enough money to buy, food to eat for
Right.
themselves and their kids every month.
Exactly.
It's because they're all playing the great American game every month of trying to decide what they're going to pay for rent, food, medicine. When you're doing that every month, it makes it very fun. When you have to choose to give up one or two of those,
Right.
you've got to find a way.
Let's just go back to what that masked ICE agent said at the top of the
Yeah.
show. I mean, everyone's in debt.
Everyone's in
Correct.
debt. Everyone's got bills to pay, and it becomes an economic justice problem.
Right.
It is. Can I just talk? I've been listening to way too many podcasts at the moment, and they're talking
Research.
about research, but the Democrats are very much leaning into, well, let's agree with him about the fact that we do have a violence problem, but we're not going to agree on how we're going to fix that.
We
I
need
am
to
so
fucking
tired of
stop
that.
ceding ground to these fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah.
No, there's
Yeah.
no agreement. I am not giving you an inch.
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
No.
Have you been hearing that?
I have, and I want to throw punch people when I do.
Well, okay.
I
So
have a very visceral reaction.
I
to
mean,
it.
like the Republican MAGA response is force, always more force,
Bullying, yes.
and bullying, right? And that's what this comes down to is like sending National Guard troops into DC neighborhoods. Is there violent crime in large cities? Yes. Yes.
that's because
it
there's a
does
lot of people.
There's a lot of fucking
Like-
people, and there's a lot of people in this country who are not getting their needs met, their most basic needs met. What needs to be happening is the conversation around social justice issues that help support people. There needs to be support for the people who live in these communities and these neighborhoods who are doing the work every day to prevent crime.
Think about the ICE budget, right? It's bigger than the military budgets of every other country. If we took that money and
Yeah.
put it into social programs,
Yeah.
fucking utopia.
Housing, hospitals, medicine, food.
And I just want to point out, my husband and I were in New York City last weekend. That's why I was away. And we happily, and I openly say, we go out to bars and have nice dinner, all that sort of stuff. And we walk around cities, Detroit, New York, whatever city we're in, Chicago, all the time. And literally at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, walk through parks and you just see, and my husband even pointed out when we were walking in New York City in a park, he's like, wow, it's 11 o'clock at night and there's even kids out. So violent. So it's like, and I know that the Democrats turn around and say, well, there is violence. And look, no doubt that there is. People are being hurt. But stop with the it's like what they did. It's like what they did around immigration in 2024 when they ceded ground on that and said, oh, yes, there are illegal immigrants and we need to fix that.
And they used the word illegal. Joe
correct.
Biden used the word illegal in his speech to Congress.
They're ceding this ground constantly, which means that we lose. Ultimately, we are the losers. We turn around. And so instead of saying, no, we don't need your National Guard, no, we don't need your ICE, but can you help us by bringing more police, which is what they're saying. I've heard a lot of Democrats saying that.
Well, ICE is a bunch of people cosplaying police.
Right.
It is. But it's like...
We don't need... we need social workers.
Yes.
We need affordable housing units.
Interventionists. We need economic development.
We need after-school programs.
Job training programs.
We need free lunch.
That's right. All of those things we absolutely need to help curb, any of this and to help make a better society for everyone, right?
And you know what we don't need?
What?
A Department of War.
Oh, no shit.
Now, I want to just tell you, that's not that's just a nickname.
It's a tag.
They haven't legally changed
Fucking
it.
nickname.
But see how they're all using it. They have no problem being able to not use the given name, to use the chosen name.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was not. It's not the name it was born with.
Right. Exactly.
Well, actually, was it? Detroit, it was the Department of War.
It was.
Originally.
it changed its name. Now it wants to change it back, but that's not fucked up or problematic at all in any possible. The Department of War automatically makes you think you're going to war.
Once again, the Peace Administration wants to call it the Department of War. The mental gymnastics.
The mental gymnastics that are happening. Well, we're talking about the fact that there is this drop in homicide in Detroit, in violent crime. But what has been on the rise, what we've noticed here the last few weeks, and this is because of a permissive structure by the Trump administration and the rhetoric that exists around when you're talking about women. Mm-hmm. Domestic violence has really started kind of creeping up. And there's been really unfortunate incidents over the last just even a couple of weeks of 4 women who were killed by either an intimate partner, former intimate partner, or a family member.
Here in Metro Detroit.
In Metro Detroit. So like in Westland, this 20-year-old young woman was shot and killed by her boyfriend. She was in the process of getting a PPO for him, and they had broken up. He was moving out. He had a lot of mental health issues. He ultimately turned the gun on himself. Like, this is all fucked, right? And like, we've got Trump standing there saying that, the crime in D.C. would be non-existent, but they're counting domestic violence as a crime.
So let's play that clip, Gina, because I think it's important to hear it from the horse's mouth.
It's more than 87%. Virtually nothing, and much lesser things that take place in the home they call crime. They'll do anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they say this was a crime. See, so now I can't claim 100%.
I mean, that's what's so problematic about this administration is you're saying a little fight with the wife when you're talking about battery and assault,
right,
domestic violence against your intimate partner. That's fucked. And that gives permission for these dudes to go out there and do the things they're doing.
But it started when he came down that fucking golden escalator all those years ago. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the tape came out just before the election. I can
grab him by the
pussy, and no one cares. They love it. Then he still got elected. So that is a permission structure where, by the way, we're all saying, women and men were saying, oh, that's locker room talk. That is not locker room talk. Not in my locker room. I don't know which locker rooms you're all in.
If you guys recall, violent crimes against women went way up in the first Trump administration, and we're going to see it again. We already are.
We're seeing it
again.
again.
You said, Julie.
And you have a look at like E. Jane Carroll, all of these kind of situations where he is and I'm going to say allegedly, but I really don't even know that I have to, but allegedly.
You don't, because
he's
he was convicted of it.
Multiple times this guy has been
In civil court.
accused and convicted of sexual assault. And it's like, if that is the bar that we're setting for our young men and our older men, that's okay, don't be fucking surprised when it turns around and we have an increase in domestic violence. And then he doesn't even think it should be classified as
a violent
violence.
crime. Exactly. This is always why we end up choosing the bear every single time. And I think, as a single person, doing the research on all of this, like, dating feels very fraught. Like, I have to really think about my own safety every time. And as a woman, we have to anyway, right? That's just a completely different. As a gender, we have to think about that, and our male counterparts don't. But every time I go out, my mom is like, are you telling someone where you are?
Yeah.
Who you're going with? Do they own a firearm? Are they mentally stable? Like, do they have any
like you're
history
a
of abuse?
40-year-old woman and your mom is like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in my 40s, and my mom, and I've been married before, and my mom's like making sure, like, hey, are you protecting yourself? That's really scary. So if we're talking about violence and eradicating violence, we need to also be talking about domestic violence.
We do. And then tie into that the Epstein stuff and the way that kind of, I feel like it's almost being gamified at the moment.
God,
There's so much coming out. And it's like, I myself feel so sick of it and overwhelmed by it that I get why people are going like, whatever, that stupid, the picture or whatever.
The birthday card
The
drawing.
birthday card drawing.
Which
the
at
book.
first didn't exist, and now that it exists...
They're saying it's a hoax.
Not really him signing it, and the whole thing is a hoax. But Trump is an FBI informant, so how could it be a hoax if he was an informant?
Yeah.
And then, okay, he's an informant. What's the number one way people become informants?
Because they want to stay out of prison.
Exactly. They got pinched, and they want to rat on somebody and stay out of prison.
Yeah. So House Speaker Mike Johnson attributed his claim this past month in September. He ended up retracting his statement, basically saying that Trump had become an FBI informant, a confidential human source through plea agreements. And that's, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is retracting that statement.
That was a big whoopsie for little Mike.
But speaking of blowjobs, honestly, Mike Johnson, he with his little Johnson,
I mean,
is
it's in his
constantly
name.
giving blowjobs to Trump. It's embarrassing.
Is he telling his son? Is he telling, are they communicating about that?
Is that on the app that they're following
Is it on the
each
app
other?
so that they don't watch porn? I bet there's all kinds of shit there for Mike Johnson. I mean, so those Epstein files were released. The Epstein estate released the card that Trump had written allegedly to
the whole birthday
Epstein.
book.
It was an entire birthday book that a bunch of different rich and powerful people had all contributed to. It wasn't just Trump. The
theme of the book. Did you see all the
theme?
Did you see all the
No.
pages?
Yeah. Oh, they're horrible.
It was all cartoons with women.
Yeah.
It was all...
Or there was animals with erect penises having
Oh my
sex.
God, bestiality is great, mate.
I mean,
Fantastic.
okay.
That's where we're
There
going.
was all
Save
kinds
the animals.
everything alluded to the fact that
Yeah.
Epstein made money and that he basically liked underage girls.
But the whole card was
Yeah.
just sex obsessed.
Sex obsessed, that they basically congratulating him on that as well. So the New York Times was talking about this morning, and they kept saying young women, and I was like, girls. These were
Yeah.
fucking
Children.
girls. They were teenagers and younger. You're talking about 13, 14, 15-year-olds.
Children.
I always want to say to these people, if you were talking about your daughter at that age, would you call her a young woman?
No,
Of course you wouldn't.
call
You'd
her
call
a
you
girl.
a girl. You
Kid.
don't talk about Gina, you don't talk about your daughter as a young woman.
No, I don't. I do
My
not.
daughter's 12. I
she's
call her a child.
I call them my kids children too, and
Yeah.
child, and they're like, we're not children. And I'm like, yes, you are. You ain't 18 yet. Your brain doesn't stop forming till you're 22. So for now, that's exactly what you are. But the Epstein stuff, it's so important that it gets out there. It's important because we've got both sides of the aisle. It's creating a faction in MAGA world. Nick Fuentes is having a fucking come apart about
My
it.
mate Nick, the old Nazi, Nick the Nazi
Nick the
himself comes
Nazi.
back.
Marjorie, you're
Yes.
Mother
The
mate.
only thing we will find common ground on is that Jeffrey Epstein was a horrible human trafficking piece of shit, and that Donald Trump was his bestie and was probably benefiting from that, if not paying into it.
If we go to CPAC again next year, Gina, do you think we'll have more in common with some of the folks?
Maybe.
This is the horseshoe
possible.
effect. It's coming all the way back around. It's, oh my God.
It just bothers me how it's just blatant protection of a pedophilia like crime ring.
Yeah.
And the government is protecting these people, and like Trump voters don't give a shit.
This is the cabal, though. This is the QAnon shit that they've all said. Like, that there's a cabal of powerful people who are, well, what the fuck do you think this is? This is exactly what that is this cabal, that the rules do not apply to them. They think they can do whatever they want. And no, in fact, you can't. They need to be held accountable, just like the electors need to be held accountable. Somebody needs to be fucking held accountable for something somewhere.
For all of the people that got like Save the Kids trending like a few years back. Remember that? Like Save the Children. They made like that documentary. Like, this is the fucking pedophile crime ring, and none of those people are saying a word about it.
And to all of those guys with the shoot a pedophile sticker on the back of their ugly big fucking trucks, here's to you, mate. Let us know what you think now.
Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Clinton was in that book, but
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was. But the card wasn't. It was kind of like it wasn't even that bad. Like
No,
comparatively,
there was no monkey with a boner on that card.
I feel like people are not loving me enough. I've never had a monkey with a boner card sent to me
my
for my
God.
birthday. Note to self, everyone in the room.
Okay, I know what I'm getting for you this year. A monkey with a boner. Oh my God. Okay, so I don't even know how to segue from monkeys and boners and Epstein trafficking rings to the fact that we're all going to shut down here in Michigan pretty shortly.
So it's like we have a possible government shutdown on the federal level as well as the state level.
yeah, let's fuck around and find out. I want to see what it's like when all my services no longer exist.
This happened. Michigan's last budget shutdowns were there was one in 2007 and one in 2009.
I didn't live here.
Both times it was a divided legislature, and it only lasted a few hours.
Oh, okay.
This time, I feel like our mate Matt Hall, who's the House Majority Speaker, is such a fucking potato head. He doesn't give a shit about
Peter Griffin.
Michiganders
Let's
getting
remind,
their
he's
services.
Peter Griffin. Just
Yes.
if you're
Peter
trying to
Griffin.
remember what he looks like, Peter Griffin. Family Guy.
Yeah. I mean, what does that start to look like, though, if the government shuts down? I think everybody needs to maybe understand what does that look like for everyone?
I'm assuming it means what it does at a federal level, only at a state level. So anything that's funded by the state basically
It's closed.
will be closed. So
We're talking like, so essential duties like public safety and stuff would all continue, but like
Yeah, those are
park
municipal.
operations
Yeah.
disrupted, things like that.
You're not going to the Secretary of State today.
Yeah,
You
you're
won't
not
be
going to
getting your
Belle
shit.
Isle. Belle
Yeah.
Isle is shut.
Yep.
You want to go hike the trail in the Hiawatha State Forest. Probably nobody picking up the trash there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All your state workers are going to get furloughed, which means that they're not going to get paid, which is
which means
direct
that they don't
impact.
go out to dinner
Yes.
or buy coffees. So for small businesses, this
Yes.
is fucking important.
This is very
shit
important.
that actually does matter. So we think about like like the parks. Respectfully, I love a park, but if that shuts down for a little bit, we'll all live. But there are going to be businesses that are directly impacted by this. So
Mm-hmm.
this is going to get a little ugly, particularly if we have a federal shutdown at the same time.
Yeah.
Like that is fucking insane.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to, the state police will still be working. The Department of Corrections will still be working.
Of course they are.
But like you said, like SOS branches,
Yeah.
like you need to go renew your license or register your car.
Sorry, shit out of luck.
Those hours are going to be cut way
I'm wondering
down.
too if like unemployment checks get disrupted or if you have an unemployment claim. Like I don't necessarily know, but if you you start thinking about like the breakdown,
It's all on the table.
It's all like there is a breakdown of things. It's almost like, have you guys ever like broken a bone or hurt yourself in like a weird way and you didn't even notice? Like I broke my elbow years ago on my left arm, and you're like, I'm not left side dominant, so who cares? But it's like I couldn't take a shower, I couldn't button my shirt, like
all
there
the
was
unintended consequences, all the things that you just go, I hadn't thought about that.
Or if you have a tooth, like if something
Yeah.
goes wrong with one of your teeth, it's not something you notice until it's fucking there, and then it's very painful, right? So that's what's going to happen if all of our government shit starts shutting down. Then you're going to start noticing the things, at least at the municipal level, we'll have police, fire, and trash pickup.
Right.
Those three things.
But at a state, when it comes to a federal level, it changes everything.
federal
That's the
level's
game
even worse.
changer
Yeah.
because you have TSA, you've got so much that's attached to the federal level. So that's really going
You
to
might want to
cause.
get your trips in now.
But yeah, but I think about like the Swiss cheese effect. Gina gets bored of me saying this, but there is a Swiss cheese effect, right, by which planes only come out of the sky when multiple things happen at once. So I feel like if these two things happen at the same time, the impact on us as, residents, people that live in the United States, citizens, whatever you want to call us, as well as businesses, they've not really thought this fucking through.
No.
They haven't thought this through.
Now, Senate Majority Leader Winnie Brinks, who's a Democrat, has been meeting with Matt Hall. She met with him last week,
I
but
feel
she
bad
said,
for her.
We're not getting anywhere, she said. So it's just, it's not looking good.
It's going to take the governor sitting down as well. So it's going to be the governor, Winnie
She
Brinks,
needs to
and
be
Matt Hall.
in Michigan.
Yeah, she
for
can't
that
be in
to
Japan.
happen.
I forgot. I hope that it doesn't shut down before she gets back. She might be in trouble with regards
Although,
to TSA.
Matt Hall is saying like, no matter where she is, we talk frequently. So they're
okay.
still in communication while
I'm sure
she's
she
been
loves
abroad.
that. I'm sure
She's
that's her
one
favorite.
lucky lady, isn't
So
she?
lucky.
She gets to hang out with Trump and Pete Hegseth and Matt Hall.
I am
my
like,
God.
part of me, the vindictive, cranky part is like, I want to see some shutdowns. I want to see this dysfunction because I want people to see the real life consequences for what happens when when you break your government so severely that it stops working for you.
Can
I
just
would co-sign on a federal government shutdown. I don't want this current federal government
To work.
to be working.
Right. Because it's not. It's not fucking working.
It's not working for the people. It's only working for the oligarchs
Yeah.
and the tech bros and the people who sit on boards of Palantir.
they'll be the people giving blowjobs. Yes,
Right.
that's right.
The blowjob people.
So can I just say, the times that I'm not here, if you ever see that I'm away, it's because I'm talking to normies out there, right? Normies wherever I am.
Normies that
I'm
aren't
out
us.
there talking to normies, doing, basically taking the temperature of the people.
Of course.
And overwhelmingly, from all the normies I've spoken to in the last month or so, they're like, burn this shit down.
Yeah, they're done.
They're like, fucking, I am done with this. It's a very weird vibe going out there
is.
with the normies.
It is. I do sometimes think Americans were too lazy, fat, lazy, and actually wealthy comparatively to other countries to actually try to overthrow the government.
Well, here's the thing, like the people in Nepal and France who are doing that very thing right now, they have social services like in France.
Yeah.
You can take the day off and still be paid, where in America,
The same thing happens in Australia.
Right.
Most countries have that. Just saying.
most countries have this where like if you're call out sick, you're allowed to not have to work every single day
It's
of your
called
life
paid leave,
and,
Gina.
and live. Right. So they can take to the streets and not worry about how am I going to eat this week.
Right.
That's the difference.
That's a huge difference, right?
Yeah, we are so busy grinding in some way, shape, or form. Everyone trying to become a billionaire to
And
give
dig themselves out of that debt.
dig them out,
The American dream.
to be able to give the president a blowjob.
Right.
We're all fighting to get to that point, and that's why we don't want to. We're happy for billionaires to get fucking tax cuts, right? And okay with them taking our Medicaid away because one day we'll be a billionaire. So they're grinding to do that. In the meantime,
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps every single day. I'm exhausted every day. I wake up, I'm tired every single day. But you know what's giving me hope still?
seeing us.
Of course, always, but also Mamdani. But like what we don't understand, like what I don't understand is I know that he met with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer this week. He's met with House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries a few times. They all live like in New York, right? So they're all
The
kind
districts all overlap.
yeah, they all overlap
like
with each
Hakeem
other.
Jeffries' constituents are voting for Mamdani.
Right. So like the fact that he still hasn't gotten endorsed by the establishment, even though we have like an actual like Cuomo, who is also someone who's fucking sexually assaulted people. Like the fact that they haven't given him an endorsement yet is so fucking obnoxious to me. It's obnoxious.
They can no longer say vote blue no matter who. If they want to try to ram this disgraced sexual assaulter down
Alleged.
people's throats.
Again, down people's throats. We got a theme today.
They want you to deep throat Andrew Cuomo.
No thanks.
I mean, Jim Clyburn robocalled for him, like telling black constituents of New York City to go and vote against their best interests.
No.
Hakeem Jeffries, like, call your fucking brother, let him talk some sense into you.
Right.
So I am hearing, once again, I'm listening to too many fucking podcasts, but I am hearing from the kind of inside, normal Democrats starting to like lean towards, hey, we may not agree with everything, but we've got to get behind this guy.
Yeah.
But then the other side is basically saying, which I think is really interesting, they're scared that if they endorse Mamdani, that fuck knows what's going to happen in Michigan. Fuck, like they're worried about what's going to happen, whether that's going to start some form of like progressive people all
already
across
started.
the country.
Let me ask you,
taking
okay?
over.
Because we've gone to some of these big Bernie rallies. He came to Warren, Michigan. 10,000 people came out. He came to Kalamazoo. A couple thousand people came out. Do you think if fucking Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer said, hey, I'm going to come to Macomb Community College, he'd have 10,000 people lined up outside to see him?
No.
I mean, can't these people wake up and say, this is the future of the Democratic Party?
No.
And we are missing the moment by listening to our out-of-touch donors who have one or two issues they care about, and it's not what everyday Americans need. I mean, they are so missing the mark. It's
Corporatists. They're corporatists.
every
It's
poll.
money. It's
Yeah.
money,
Money.
people. It's money.
It's
And
money
we
in
have
politics.
got our incredible producers, the guys behind the scene here who are crediting themselves at the moment for being young white men. They're totally on brand
That's
right
their
now.
cross
That's
to
their
bear.
cross
You
to
want
bear.
to know how to get a 24-year-old white boy out to vote?
Give him a
Democrat?
podcast.
No, give him Mamdani policy.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
That's what they
Exactly.
want. That's
Exactly.
the future of the party. So there was a New York Times Siena poll that came out this past week. 46% of likely voters said that they would vote for Mamdani. 24% said they would support Cuomo. Adams, who's running as an independent, 9%. And the Republican candidate got 15%. So even more than Adams. Which didn't like Trump say, hey, let me give you a job in my
Yeah.
cabinet or some shit?
he said no.
He said no thanks. So that's kind of funny. Like, yeah, the whole thing is fucking sideways and inside out. And I hope Mamdani wins despite all this shit. And he's going to.
He will.
He's going
he
to.
will. He's actually told people, stop contributing to my campaign. I have enough money.
That's
But what you
amazing.
can do is come out and door knock for me. And
Who does that? Like, which candidate do you know says, I've got enough money to run, stop giving me money, like, do this instead? Like,
But it's because he understands where the power is.
Yeah.
He understands that having people out there and represent, even if they're just talking to the 100 people that they know,
Mm-hmm.
that is far more powerful. And he's not spending millions of dollars on fucking TV ads.
Yeah.
He understands that he can just get enough earned media through his social media, through new media. Like it's a different game, right? And he
It's a different
understands
game.
the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, thank God these other pricks don't understand the game.
right. And I think that if you're a listener out there and you want to do something,
have no game.
Yeah,
That's
helps,
true.
That their
That's
policies
true.
have
What
no
are they
game.
giving people? What are they offering? Medicare for all? No, they want you to go and give all your money to your insurance company.
I mean, the tangible things that he's offering, like around transportation and lowering housing costs, those are the things that New Yorkers give a shit about. The people that live in that city and have to work and earn money to stay there.
as the only New Yorker on this panel, let me just tell you, life in New York City revolves around taking public transit. We don't drive.
Yeah, there's no cars.
People who live in Manhattan and work in Manhattan do not drive.
Yeah.
Okay? We get our paychecks, and what does it go to?
Your rent.
Fucking rent, Metro cards to get on the subway and get around.
Gina, you don't use Metro cards anymore. You use your tap your phone now.
But isn't that the
You're out
Metro
of
card on your
touch.
phone?
Gotta get the app
No,
for that.
It's an
no,
app.
no,
But you
you
gotta
don't
pay
use
for
an
it.
app, ladies. Like you just use your Apple Pay. Ding, ding, ding,
Okay,
ding,
well.
and they give you benefits for doing that. Just FYI, it's very exciting.
The life literally is taking public transportation, housing costs, and feeding yourself.
Yeah.
That's the bottom. That's what all New Yorkers want.
That is rent,
Yes.
medicine, food, Gina.
And then, let's talk about, okay, Andrew Cuomo just kind of held a summit with New York City's biggest property developers to coalesce and figure out how they can get him elected so they can continue to make your rent more.
I mean, does he not
money.
understand the fucking optics of that? Like, how far?
He doesn't fucking care.
Like, I just don't understand how, like, they just don't get it. Like, why don't you understand this?
We were catching up with friends in New York City last week that live there and have, from there. And they were talking about the fact one of the biggest issue in New York City is these fucking empty buildings. Like, these brand new buildings are being put up with huge, massive, $50 million apartments in them, and they're blocking, number one, obviously it's taking away housing, but they're also blocking views as well. There are views to the Empire State. Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot of people that are just pissed about the fact that they're building buildings for billionaires that are never lived in. They're never fucking lived in. So this is a huge
these high
issue.
rent buildings, people from all over the world get an apartment in, and they're there maybe 1 week a year. And then the entire ground floor is retail. But what they don't tell you is they get tax incentives if they don't rent out. They're still getting money.
Yeah.
So their retail rent spaces are the costs are through the roof. You can no longer open a boutique in Manhattan.
Yeah.
There is no room for small businesses to get a retail space on an avenue or I mean it's just
It's always been astronomically expensive to live in New York,
Yeah.
in New York City. We all know that. It's like when I graduated college and I was deciding where to work, everyone was like, go to New York because you're a designer and that's what you should do. And I was like, absolutely fucking not, because I like to have things and to survive. And I didn't do that. So, but if that was the problem in 20 plus years ago when I graduated, it's exponentially worse now. And the pandemic made it even worse.
So when I lived in Manhattan, through my 20s. I had to have 2 roommates in order to pay rent.
In order to pay rent,
In order to afford our apartment. I mean, it was and that was the norm, right? All of the women I knew who were my age, we all graduated college, moved to the city at the same time. We all had 2 roommates.
Yeah.
So I think circling it back to Mamdani, so a lot of the talk from the inside baseball Democrats or whatever is that he will not be able to do what he's saying that he wants to do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Naysaying him before he's even.
But here's the thing. What we're talking about right now is about fucking regulation. It's about tax incentives. It's about a whole lot of stuff that he actually can control as the mayor of New York. So I think it is time to start going, you know what? You don't just say, oh, no, you can't do it or whatever. So therefore, we won't vote for you. Mm-hmm. It's about time to start to have aspirations. It's about to elect people that are aspirational, that are starting to fix real problems that real people have.
This just occurred to me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My first job when I was living in Manhattan, my salary 20 years ago, which required me to have 2 roommates, is currently the average salary of the average Michigander.
So it's
$45,000 a year.
Literally the same amount. That's the other thing that we're not talking about is that costs have just salaries have not kept up with costs over decades where millionaires, billionaires are just collecting all the fucking money and they're sitting on the piles of money. So people naysaying Mamdani and saying he's not going to be able to do this are full of shit. They're corporatists. They don't want taxes on the rich. That's really what it comes down to. And if you're sitting on an apartment, some big fucking penthouse apartment that's $50 million in New York and you're only coming once a year, you should still be paying fucking property taxes on that apartment. Yeah. That's how that should be fucking working. So the hope is that maybe the Democrats will get their fucking heads out of their asses and finally endorse him before this November election. Doesn't look like it's likely. I mean, speaking of Democrats getting weird, there's a book coming out.
Oh, yes.
107 Days.
I kind of wish this came out over the summer when we were on vacation. We could have read it on the
reading.
beach
Oh, book club time.
in Sag Harbor.
I'm hoping I did
That would
hear
have been the
recently.
perfect backdrop.
It would have
Julie.
been.
Did you see the video of the American Hotel,
Oh,
the
yes.
restaurant we went and ate in? Of the
She's giving away all of our secrets.
Oh my God, what? Tell me.
cut.
No, it's okay. I'm laughing. It's funny.
We went out to eat. We had a restaurant recommendation. Julie really wanted the dollar oyster night.
I'm cheap at heart. I'm very
I
cheap.
love a dollar oyster night. Yes. You're right on the coast. Get yourself some
Yeah.
fucking oysters.
I'm just gonna
little
say,
horseradish.
Don't eat oysters if you're landlocked.
No.
But we
No.
were like 5 minutes from the beach.
Yeah.
So
I
we went
love
to this
oysters.
hotel and like 2 weeks later it's on TikTok that like this, I think it was a climate group went in and was like, brought in the drums and was like
They were protesting this restaurant.
yeah.
You guys went
Can I
to?
just want to point out when we walked into this hotel, this
You got
restaurant,
creeped out
I was
immediately.
totally creeped out. I
Yeah.
could feel those Get Out vibes. You know, those kind
This
of
was like the very like old world, upper crust, old money,
Oh,
like
shit.
like hate crimey racism vibes.
They all wear the same clothes,
Like,
and I
yes,
just want to point
they all had
out.
khakis and polos
Khakis
on,
and
they were all
polos.
against DEI.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and I just want to point out, I have this theory. They all look the same. It's rich people in America. It's a thing, right? Every time I
They
go
have a
somewhere,
uniform.
Especially on the East Coast.
I'm starting to think they're all related. That is what it looks like to me. I'm walking around going, not only they're wearing the same clothes, they kind of have the same eyes. The same. There is
They all look
there
the
is
same.
a look.
Very
There's an aesthetic.
Aryan,
Yeah.
Aryan looking.
The women don't
aesthetic.
look like they've eaten since the late 80s.
Oh.
The men kind of like, and there's a posture to them. Anyway, I was creeped out as soon as we
Very
walked in
bonfire
there.
of the vanities.
Very,
Yeah.
yeah. I use it the Get Out vibes, where everything's perfect, and it's like, oh, I'm.
Who
getting
made
creeped.
this restaurant recommendation to you? I'd be very concerned.
Believe it or not, Liz Winstead. She
Wait.
said, "You're
Hey,
going."
Liz.
Shout out, Liz. I did report back to her and say it was not $2 shucks or $1 oysters.
$2 shucks.
It was expensive, and it's like, oh, sorry guys, I did this to us.
we were like 2 weeks late for the promotion.
Yeah, we missed
Mm.
a promotion. We should have checked that before I booked. Anyway,
I want a martini now.
We've
and
gone
some,
way
and
off
some
the reservation
oysters.
in this
we did, but okay, so book
conversation.
club time, right?
Yeah.
So we've got Kamala Harris's new book, 107 Days, is coming out, and she's got some thoughts. She's got some
She
feelings.
does. Basically, she says, I'll read her quote, okay? This is the quote that's going around about her book. Her book isn't out yet, but they've released snippets to kind of get the buzz going.
Yes,
And oh
we're
boy,
coming up
are
on
we
the holiday
buzzing.
season, so
That's right.
we got to get our book release out in time.
So about Joe Biden making the decision to run, she says, it's Jill and Joe's decision. We all said that like a mantra, as if we'd all been hypnotized. Was it grace or was it recklessness? In retrospect, I think it was recklessness. She added, the stakes were simply too high. This wasn't a choice that should have been left to an individual's ego, an individual's ambition. It should have been more than a personal decision.
I think in general, we were all lulled into some kind of complacency. Like, okay,
I
Trump
was.
already had a first term to show how fucked up shit was. Million people died under COVID. Look at all the horrible things he did, right? So immediately I'm like, all right, cool. We've got a beautiful, intelligent, highly qualified woman who's going to step up and do this. And of course, like even with Biden, if he had kept running and been like, yeah, he's probably the better choice against Trump.
the haircut versus the beheading.
It's the haircut versus the beheading, but a lot of people didn't see it that way.
So I'm going to say this about. I have not read Kamala's book. She's not sent it to me to be for an early reading, unfortunately. But anyway, about that quote, what pisses me off more than anything in the world is when people fucking release books after they've lived through something.
Yes.
They've lived it and they didn't have the guts to turn around and tell people at the fucking time.
Exactly.
And I'm going to
Hindsight.
I'm not going to call out.
It's not hindsight because they fucking
It's
had these
happening.
thoughts at the time. They're telling us they had these thoughts at the time. And like Julie said, why didn't you fucking speak up at the
Right.
time?
Because I will tell you, during this period, I was literally watching, and I'm going to say it again, Gina, some of the most intelligent, politically attuned, and astute people that I know fall into the Biden's okay trap and everything's fine.
Until that debate.
Yes.
But he wasn't okay a year before when he could have said, I'm not going to run, let's have a primary.
But
Right.
what would have made a difference at that particular point would have been someone like Kamala or even her planting it somewhere. There was a smart way to do it. Like they shat all over her, really. I mean,
Yeah.
they gave her the border czar job at a time when they were calling out fucking immigrants as being illegal.
Right.
So they gave her the shittiest job. So she was positioned in a way that there was no way she was set up to win. And I was saying that at the time, that, you know, Kamala was being shat on constantly by everybody because they had not, you know, when you're doing succession planning, you need to make sure that you position that person.
They did not elevate her
They
in any
did
way.
not in any way. So they never had any. If that debate hadn't have happened, and it didn't even happen just after the debate, it took weeks after that before.
Yeah,
he
it took a
stepped
while
down.
when
Like a
everyone was
whole
like, hey,
month, I
maybe
think.
like step
Exactly.
down.
So I'm just going to finish this by saying that I know these brilliant people that would have listened if someone had have turned around at that point that was in the inner sanctum and said, hey, things are not okay, we need to do something. I'm going to shut up now.
No, I mean, yeah. We'll see what the rest of her book says. I think it'll be an interesting tell-all, but giving someone 107 days to run for the presidency, completely unfair. And he should have stepped down well before, right? But I always kind of justified it, I think, to myself as, okay, Biden's not my ideal choice. He was never my first pick, even in 2020. But he has people around him, his administration, very competent people.
This is what we were all telling ourselves.
This is like we were
Adrian.
all telling ourselves these
But
things.
you're forgetting you're not out there talking to the normies.
Right.
You've got to speak
Yeah.
to average people on the street that don't understand that. The American presidency is put up there like some fucking, you know, beacon on a hill as being, it's the president you're voting for, right? It's never, like, it's not a parliamentary system. No one is voting. They're voting for an individual. So therefore, that is how people are seeing it.
Right,
Like, if
and
you
that's
position
true.
it that way,
But you're voting for a whole score of people to come in. It's not just the president; it's their policies you're
but
voting
your average
for.
people don't know
They
that.
don't know that. You're
They don't
absolutely
know
right.
that.
And I think that the other, obviously, I'm intimately aware of this now. But like people who didn't vote in 2024 and even in 2022,
I love the way that you say intimately.
intimately aware of this, right? Like they're giving their reasons is because they didn't get a primary. They didn't get a choice.
Is that really their reason, or are
There's-
they parroting something
They-
they heard somewhere
They
else?
might be parroting.
But regardless,
this is the reason I was given.
But regardless, I think we cannot like just blow off. Come back to the blow.
Come back to blow off.
It's a perfect way to end the show.
You can't just blow off people's real feelings. These
Yeah.
are like average people that are out there and they're consuming whatever type of media that they're consuming, and they have their very own valid thoughts. And we
Yeah.
need to, as when I say we, the royal we, as people that are providing information, you know,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we understand that and we talk to where people are and not where we want them to be.
Right.
Am I remembering this correctly, that when Biden ran in 2020, it was with the acknowledgement that he was just running for the one term
Oh,
to kind of be an
yes.
interim president
Yes.
and get things back on track?
Yes.
Absolutely. That is exactly how it was positioned. And that's why I was so shocked when they did not elevate and position Kamala in a way that would have set her up.
Right.
It would have been a perfect setup. Giving her the borders are giving her shitty jobs that no one wants to
Maybe
do.
they're just afraid of primaries. That's I think that's part of the Democratic Party's problem. They're just afraid of
well,
primaries.
and this is all coming down from the donor base
Yeah.
and the
The donor class.
consultants.
Yeah, and the consultants.
It's a consultants. Remember, the donors were pissed too. I mean, donors were like getting around saying, leaking stuff about Biden at the time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So it was kind of like it was coming, but it's definitely the consultants and the people around him that were basically relying on having those jobs for another 4 years.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Everything
that's-
comes down to money.
Money, self-interest.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Ah, well, it's been a pleasure as usual, my friends. I'm so glad that we're all back together again for another fucking horrifying week. It's been a lot to kind of get through today. So thank you all for joining us on another episode of the Point of Disorder podcast. I do hope that you've all been entertained out there during this horrible hellscape we're living in. So check in with us on the regular on all the socials. You can watch this full episode on YouTube. So if you want to see our beautiful faces, that we're making when we talk about blowjobs, please check us out on YouTube.
And a big shout out to Gage, who said, see you next Tuesday last week.
We knew you'd like that.
I want to let everybody know we have a short coming out tomorrow. So, check back in on Friday. We're in Detroit talking to a Detroit City Councilwoman about, the MAGAs wanting to send the National Guard in. So make sure you listen in.
Listen in, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Ciao.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.